Bill, thanks for sitting down with me today. I appreciate your time.
It's great to be here with you in Beijing.
It's a fantastic city. I'm really glad to be here. Thanks again for taking the time.
Well, it's a city that's changing, and you're here at a very dynamic time. The country is in the midst of the greatest amount of change ever experienced here, and the ISF meeting couldn't have picked a better venue at a better time.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It was a great week. In 2010, China was the second largest seed market in the world. Pioneer saw an opportunity. For the last 4 years, you have been over in China leading Pioneer's efforts in China. Can you tell us a little bit about what you see as the big opportunities in country?
Well, with the recent governmental change that's going on with Xi and Li coming in, they have accelerated the change rate in land reform, urbanization, and the desire to eliminate or eradicate corruption. What that means for agriculture is that with land reform and urbanization, farms will increase in size. Farms will have less labor to pull from because that labor is migrating into the urban environments. And as that happens, land consolidation must occur. Land consolidation is a huge opportunity for us in terms of working with fewer farmers, with more intimacy, with stronger relationships, and bringing technology to them in a way that we haven't been able to do before. The government is absolutely committed to food safety, food security, and environmental sustainability. So as we think about technologies that we can bring either in the seed, on the seed, or around the seed, great opportunities to partner with the government to drive those initiatives, drive that commitment. And then finally, Chinese farmers appreciate quality. They're migrating to quality. There's always the temptation to go to cheap. There's always the temptation to go to easy. But what they want is they want to move up, and they want to bring their operations to a totally different level. Fantastic opportunity for a seed company today in China.
So I'm going to take a wild guess here and think there's some hurdles that come along with that. What are some of the hurdles that you face as you go into this?
You know, there's not a lot of land. You know, 19% of the world's population inhabits China with 7% of the world's arable land. The Chinese have brought more people out of poverty and have brought more people into a quality of lifestyle that is outstanding than any other country in the world, but they're doing it with not a very large land base. We used to joke in Montana growing up that we had a lot of land but not a lot of soil. Okay, and there are a lot of places in China that are like that. And you know, the thing that I see right now is that technology is so critically important to farm this land in the most appropriate and the most effective manner. That ability to plant a seed that you know will germinate and that you know will reach its full maximum genetic potential with your management input is something that's absolutely critical. The other side of the obstacles are the foreign direct investment limitations. You know, companies are in the seed industry restricted to owning minority shares in those seed companies, and it's very challenging to bring your best technology, to bring your A game when you know that you're in a minority position and it's in a market that you don't understand very well. So there are obstacles out there. You know, the IPR environment we'll talk about a little later is the same way. You know, you just got to learn how to navigate in these waters. It's tricky.
Absolutely. And what is DuPont doing to seize on some of these opportunities?
Well, the thing that we started in '98 with a commitment to R&D, and that brought us great credibility with the party, with the government, and with the local provincial administrators. That commitment to research ultimately led to an allowance to practice the business in the form of a JV, the first JV that we formed in 2002, and a second JV in 2007. And so what we've done is that we have reinvented ourselves 3 times over the last 10 years plus in terms of our business model. We started off by providing a high-quality seed that could be relied upon. We built manufacturing and seed production facilities that are world-class, the best we have in the world, and we followed that up with a channel populated by professionals who are working with top-notch dealers and individuals who understand increasingly how to deliver value not only to a smallholder but to an emerging sophisticated grower. And then the technology innovation has been so critical. We've invented hybrids here in China that we're using in China. The germplasm that we're deploying, the hybrids that we're selling have been developed in China for China. And it's been exciting because these products like 335 have really revolutionized the industry and changed grower expectations in terms of yield and productivity. And then finally, the standard. It's so important that China have a legitimate company operating at a high ethical standard that serves as a model. You know, I laugh when I came here in 2010, they were describing the DuPont Pioneer model as the tiger or the wolf that was eating the market. And today, the MOA and the Seed Bureau tells us that you're the model that we need to emulate. You're setting a standard that we can use to show that honesty and integrity, legitimacy will work. It will. Authenticity sells. And so we've been investing in that. We've got a long ways to go. There's a lot more to do, but we feel like we're in a pretty good position.
We heard loud and clear at the ISF Congress this year that seed plays a very pivotal role in the past with Chinese agriculture, and certainly on a go forward in the future for Chinese agriculture. Can you talk a little bit about some of the successes? I mean, obviously agriculture has an extensive past in China. If we're to look forward into the future, in the next 5 to 10 years, what successes do you see China needing to be able to build on to keep ratcheting up the successes?
Well, the definition of sustainability needs to be further refined in terms of how are we going to protect our most valuable resources of land, water, and air. The government is focusing very, very heavily on that today to recognize that that's the foundation into which a seed is placed. That land, the water that's used, and the air in which it grows, and the quality of light that it receives. And so we're seeing significant investments in trying to enhance the environment in which agriculture is practiced. The other thing we see is this land reform is coming forward to enable farms to scale up to a size where mechanization and modern farming practices make sense, that they can be used by entrepreneurs, they can be used by individuals who desire to become agribusiness people, not necessarily people who were born on the farm, individuals who have migrated from other industries where they've been successful, where they've been entrepreneurial, where they've changed the markets in which they're operating, and doing that here in China in agriculture. And that is exciting to be on the ground floor of that construction project and to see that built. The things that we've done over the last 12 years, I feel, have built a foundation on which we can build a tall building. And with the government relationships that we've established, with the local legitimacy and authenticity that we've demonstrated, we feel like we're in a position to be a preferred partner and a preferred integrator.
Bill, you've got 30 plus years into the seed industry. Well,
yeah, you know, thanks. It's gone quickly,
Yeah, it's amazing how quick it goes. You've been in the US, you've been in Europe, you're now over in China. How have you had to adjust your approach, and what do you see as the key differences between doing business in US and Europe compared to over here in China?
Well, really three things. There's the scale of China, there's the scope that you have to cover, and then there's the speed. Okay, so let's take each one of those. The scale, China, one has to think about China as a continent, not a country. The provincial differences from the far west to the far northeast to the south are as different as any continent that I've lived on or experienced. And the regional differences are extremely important in terms of building relationships and setting your business in the right direction. Agriculture in China today, on scale side, it is modernizing. It's not westernizing. Okay? This agriculture is developing in a way that is unique to China and unique to the challenges that they face. There are many Western ideas and tools and techniques and technologies that have real relevance, but the true fact is that it is modernizing and developing in a truly Chinese way. On the scope side, today, if you're not bringing your A game, if you don't bring your best genetics, you don't bring your best breeding practices, you don't bring your best seed production practices, you don't bring your best marketing techniques and relationship building skills, you don't play here. You got to bring your A game. Second thing is, you can't fight, because we haven't won many fights here. We don't fight. And then the third thing is, you grow incrementally. You grow with the trend. And incremental here can be double digit, but it's still very, very important to grow your business in China in a way that is seen as additive and aligned with the incentives for those individuals that are managing it. And then finally, speed. I tell people, if you'd like 10 years of experience in the next 3 years, come join me in China. Right. Okay? It's unlike any place else I've ever been. It's 24/7, it's all out. You leave China for a week, you come back, you feel like you've missed everything. Right. It is the speed here and the intensity, the intellect that's being put forward, the integrity that's improving as we go forward. Totally new, totally unique situation. And, you know, having lived here over 4 years and been here with the company and been with the company for 30 years, we've been able to gain a lot of credibility in the eyes of the ministries, in the eyes of the local provincial governments, in the fact that we're really truly committed to this. I'd say, Shawn, we've evolved. We came to China to do something. That was to get some research going and doing things. We then evolved like everyone did. We're going to do something for China. We're going to help them. Okay, we help. But then finally, where we are today is we're in China with China, and what I think gives us great legitimacy with the powers, that whether it be the party or the ministries, is that they feel like we're here to be with them. We're not here to do something, to extract something. The business success that we've enjoyed here, we've reinvested into the business that we have here. And we've grown this business incrementally over time. We feel like we're well positioned and for growth in the future, and we continue to maintain our relationships, manage our relationships, despite the changing winds and the unstable ground at certain moments.
Right, and I think that kind of leads me into my next question a little bit. You mentioned it, intellectual property. I mean, if there's one thing I've talked about over the last week, it's about intellectual property and how do we protect it. And I think coming over, my expectation was that was a very scary place for companies in China as to where to stand, and I fully understand the sensitivities of it all. What's DuPont Pioneer doing to help protect themselves in that arena? You talked about having developed varieties in country for the country. What other pieces can be in play to help protect that intellectual property?
Well, you're operating in an environment that is unlike any other environment in the world when it comes to intellectual property, the thinking about intellectual property, the ability to protect that intellectual property. Okay? The highest form of flattery is imitation, and we've seen that in other parts of the world, but in China they take it to a new level.
Right.
Okay? And what we know is that we really need to partner with the governmental agencies at the national level, the academic institutions who study this and reflect on this, and the local provincial governments that ultimately need to police and protect and enforce. Now, a legal strategy will only get you so far. A partnering strategy is a very good adjunct to that legal strategy, and then finally an industry strategy. How is it that we can partner with industry participants of Chinese origin, of Chinese derivation, to really help everyone understand that counterfeiting and the loss of IPR is a scourge on the soul. It is something that I've experienced in my career in Europe and in North America, and I'm experiencing it in China. So I want to be first and foremost to say that what I've experienced here in terms of intellectual property access and intervention and let's say acquisition is not terribly different from what I've experienced in other continents where I've operated in my 30-year career. It's at a different level here. It is with a different level of freedom in terms of the way it operates. But the fundamentals are sort of the same, and it's wrong, and it's bad, and it stops research investment. It keeps people from doing the things that they should be doing to build a modern professional seed industry. And so we're working closely with the monitoring agencies, the surveillance agencies. We're doing everything we can. We're also working with the farmer at the farmer level to know you don't have to be taken by someone who wants to have a seed transaction with you. Develop a relationship with your seed provider, establish that relationship over years, and build that trust that comes with repeated experience. And I don't know that we can eradicate mistrust in a couple of meetings or a couple of sales seasons, but we're going to keep working at it because that's what we do. And then finally, I think we have to invest in new technology. And we used to joke that we don't know how long the tow rope is, but some days there is no tow rope. And we're trying to extend that through new registrations, new innovations, new product releases, new partnering mechanisms, new routes to market. And so, and the other thing we joking around, we're saying, how can we turn the copycats into hunting dogs? How can we start to work with those individuals? How can we convince those individuals that working during the day would be much more satisfying than working at night?
Right.
And building a business that you could leave to the next generation of your family, versus something that you sort of try to keep your family from knowing about. It would be much more satisfying and much better for the country long term. So we're doing a lot of things. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. Are we totally effective? No, we're not totally effective. Have we given up? Not by any means.
Right. Wonderfully well said, Bill. I appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with me today.
Well, thanks for coming out to Beijing. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I'm here for another bunch of years, and if you get back this way, we'd love to see you again.
We'll be back.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shawn.